survive the storm anyway. Well, hello folks. We're expecting a bit of a storm tonight. Well, in the early hours of tomorrow morning. Storm Éowyn it's called. It's to bring pretty much hurricane force winds, I think during the course of tomorrow. So I'm just out among the hives here at the moment, just to check to see what needs to be done in terms of strapping them down. I don't have straps on all my hives, but I do have blocks and all. But I think with this wind that is predicted, I might just have to tie them down as well, just to make sure, tie them all down. So I think what I'll do is I'll get a couple of lengths of rope and I'll just tie over a couple of hives that are on stands. So for example, if we take, say, these 3 boxes here, they're on the one stand, I'll just tie a rope across from one side to the other, and that'll keep the 3 of them tied down, plus keep the weights on the roof. This one here, as you can see, actually doesn't have a weight, but yeah, that's the plan. Now, this isn't the first storm that we've had this year. We've probably had 2 very vicious ones during the course of the winter, and the hives have survived. But do I want to take that chance this time? Especially with the winds that are predicted. The whole country is under a red warning. I don't think they've done that in the previous storms. There were sections of the country that were in red warning and other sections that were in sort of orange warnings. But the red warning, that's pretty severe, and I don't want to take my chances. One thing I will say though is that these storms really test the hives, and it really shows the difference in the quality of polyhives that are out there. This is my opinion, because I mean, some of these hives I have out, and I don't exactly put excessively heavy weights on them. I see photographs of people loading rocks and bricks and all sorts of things on their hives. In some cases, I just put a quarter of a small split round log up, and in the majority of cases, the roofs will stay on. Now, you might say, well, listen, that's your own silly fault for not properly strapping them down if you do lose a lid. I haven't lost a lid yet. So it really kind of, for me anyway, it shows the difference in quality of poly that's being used. Wooden hives, I think I've only had an issue maybe once with a lid blowing off a wooden hive. So generally speaking, I don't have issues with them. And I don't go excessively overboard weighing them down. Really, the whole idea is, anyway, you should be putting your apiaries in protected sites. But this particular site, at the moment, is very exposed to wind. And I believe that the direction that the wind is going to be coming from this time is going to hit this site full force. And so there is potential for some hives, for roofs to get blown off. I don't think I've had any hives, like full hives, topple over in wind. So yeah, I'm just going to go walk around here and just assess what I need in terms of straps and rope and whatever, and we might get to do that later on. The other thing I find is, if you bunch hives up together, kind of adds an extra layer of protection that because the hives are so close together, you kind of, certainly the ones in the middle are being protected by the ones that are on the outer edge. So it's just a way of kind of helping. If you're going to set your hives out individually or on stands where there's a large space between the hives that are on it, of course, each of those hives are then very exposed to the elements. I tend to keep hives close together, and in one sense, well, in my mind anyway, by keeping them close together, I'm kind of adding even an extra layer of insulation, because there's sort of protection here from, the wind hitting directly onto the sides of these boxes. And just in my head, it helps with the bees inside, keeping the hive insulated. Obviously, the outer hives, they're going to be exposed a bit more than the inner ones. Keeps things tidy as well, but apart from that, my main reason for doing it, to be honest, is to protect the hives from the element. This is one of the nukes I fed last week. Just thought I'd take a look into it. And as you can see, they're coming up here and they're eating up through that fondant. And I haven't gone crazy on it or anything, but they are taking it down. And there's a nice bit of heat actually coming up there, so that's a good sign. So just while we are out here, I've discovered one or two nukes. There's this one here and this one here, and there's one up there, the far corner. They haven't made it through the winter, so that's unfortunate, but that's just a reality of beekeeping. They're all nukes that I made up quite late in the season. They were made up towards the end of August, so you can always expect to lose some of them. They just don't build up big enough for the winter, or it's difficult. It's kind of getting late in the season then to actually assess queens and how well they're laying. And the queen could fail early on, kind of in November, when you'd still expect her to be brooding to get them through the winter. So that queen could fail. You don't check it at that stage, so you're not going to pick up on it, and the colony just then dwindles away. It's just unfortunate, but that's the way it is. So I'm going to come out later on and tie these hives down. It'll probably be dark when I'm doing it, so mightn't actually get to video that. I need to go over and check a couple of the out apiaries as well, but I can't actually do that at the moment, so I'll have to do that later on, also when it's dark. But again, I know what I need. Actually, the out apiaries, I do tend to put straps in all the hives because you know, you can't get over there checking them on a regular basis. So if something does get toppled over, or if a lid gets blown off, it could be, you know, a few days before you get over to check it. And I mean, going by what they're saying with this storm, you know, there could be a day or two there where none of us can get very far if there's a lot of trees down and so on. So it could just make getting to some of the apiary sites difficult. Look, can't say that for certain, but there are many ways, many routes to get there. But you know, there could be a bit of cleanup to be done here first, so it might mean I won't get over for a day anyway, at least after. Right, no time like the present. I've decided I'll just go and do it now, and I'm just going to get these straps on, because sure as anything, like I say, I'm going to go and do it later, and something else will crop up and I won't get around to it, and then I'll be out first thing in the morning when the wind starts hitting and trying to get out and do it then, and that's not the right time to be doing it. Let's do it now. Bit of flight today. It's windy enough and the wind is cool, but some bees flying. Not many, mind. But yeah, let's get cracking. A couple of these straps that I have on hives already are long enough to cross over and cover the full length of hives. But you see where we have here, like, we have a height difference on these, so if I put this strap on, it's not really going to hold down this or these nukes, but at least if there's a strap going across and then I have the weight on, it'll just hopefully keep everything kind of together. So I might tighten up this hive here, and then it'll just give me, look, all I want is a little bit of my stand kind of just protruding out that I can catch the strap on. This box actually felt a bit light when I was lifting it, so this is one that needs to be checked. I only hefted that maybe about a week ago and it was fine, so it's gone very light all of a sudden. But that's kind of the strange thing about, you know, when you're going around checking your bees. That's all it takes is just a week, and the bees could consume an awful lot of food and suddenly the box is a lot lighter. So yeah, going to be the year that's in it, I think, so we have to keep going around checking our colonies, because I've never really had this issue in previous years. But there you have it. I'll just take a look down. Well, to have this well properlised, so maybe I'm not going to get to look down. Just nice cluster here, but it's all towards the front. Small enough though. Yeah, they actually seem to have plenty of stores, so I'm not that concerned. It's possibly down to the fact that the cluster is quite small. Some of these colonies, like this particular one here, I had to requeen it very late in the season, and yeah, so the colony kind of shrunk up in size. That's the thing, it's all kind of a game of numbers really, whether your colonies get through the winter. So far there is a cluster there, but it could get off to a very slow start in the spring. It's in a hive box, but in reality it's only a nuke. So that's just the way I do it. I've had to just take off the ratchet element of the strap because this bit of it isn't long enough to kind of go around and hook then like, you know, if you see the way I do it there, just to tie them down. Simple enough, really. Now, these girls didn't like being disturbed. Other than that, everybody seems happy. This is another small nuke I'll be a little bit worried about. But no, you can see the bees there. They seem happy. And these ones are well protected, and with this little bit of a weight in, I don't expect anything to go flying over. Now, these boxes here, I'm going to have to kind of shunt down a bit just to give me the full length of the, or to give me enough of the stand protruding out underneath here. So you might be wondering why I have this bit of bubble wrap here. It's I left the queen excluder on this colony. I usually leave the queen excluders on the tops of the boxes, but during the course of the winter I actually discovered that this particular queen excluder had sort of kinked a little bit in the middle, and it was leaving quite a large gap here, just along this kind of area here, and the bees hadn't properlised it up. Obviously I'm not actually sure when it had actually formed, but the bees just didn't properlise up the gap. So I was a little bit concerned about, especially if it was to turn very cold with snow and that a cold wind would be getting in there. So I sort of just overlapped a bit of this bubble wrap stuff on that I had from packaging, and well, so far it seems to be doing the job. One or two bees seem to have got themselves caught in it, but other than that, it's doing the job, I think, is intended for. So yeah, I'm going to shift these boxes down. Now that gives us a little protruding bit of the stand that I can then wrap my strap around. That as tight as I wanted, did I? Just have to tie that again. Better. I'll just help hopefully keep everything in place. Not sure that's going to hold up. Might have to put another strap on that. But since this one has no strap on, I'm just going to say, I find these Paradise honey boxes excellent. These and the Abello. Now this one has a strap on it, but I mean I've often left them with no strap, and on some occasions with no weight on the roof. And as you can see, this one only just has a little bit of a log on the roof. This lid has never come off. Similarly, this lid has never come off. I don't know what it is. I mean, it's poly, it's light, but just whatever way it's designed, just seems to tolerate the wind blowing it. And like, you know, there's bulky empty feeder there. When I say bulky, I mean it's not. It's more like a sail. It's a big area to catch wind, and it's light. There's nothing in it, and yet there it has stayed. But I'm just going to strap it down for this storm that's coming, just in case. No use crying over spilt milk. Measure maybe. Maybe wrapped it around the supports and my stand, just in case. Now, yes, this box colony is gone, but I think I'm actually going to leave it up beside this one where it was, just to kind of give that level of protection. And we'll strap it down as well. I'm going to say, just to give it that layer of protection that was there, obviously, just for this storm, and then we'll bring it in. Now, look at this. Did I throw this here? I just found a strap. So we can wrap it across the three of them. Let's do it. Because I said the wind comes down this way, so it hits these couple of boxes full force. Could be what kind of contributed to this colony dying out. But yeah, just for that extra bit of safety. Let's hopefully it's not going to turn out as bad as they say it's going to be, but let's take precautions just in case. So I have a couple of nukes over there that I have to still tie down. I'll just work out what I'm going to do. I think they might be okay because they're kind of bunched together, that I can probably just leave weights on collectively over them. As in, I do use lengths of timber. I'll show you actually. So this is kind of something like what I do. Now obviously the rest of them have individual weights on at the moment, but I can just get that sorted out, and I can just bridge over there, and that'll hopefully just provide enough security for them all to hold them in place. These ones similarly, they have individual weights. So, but again, I'm only using these little timber blocks, so if the wind is going to be what they say it's going to be, those timber blocks could be shifted. So I think putting on a bit of extra strapping or extra weight on isn't going to do any harm. So I'm sure you get the picture anyway, what I'm doing. I'm just taking all precautions just to avoid any damage to the hives, if at all possible. So yeah, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for watching, and if you like these videos and all of that, just hit the like and subscribe button. And my next video, I hope to just go through some of the projects that I'd like to see done this year, 2025, the year of projects. That was supposed to be last year, but it didn't seem to materialize, so maybe this year. Okay, so see you in the next one, and bye for now. Well, it's the day after Storm Éowyn, and apparently record gusts of 183 kilometers per hour felt in some parts of the country. Thankfully, we got away here quite lightly. A few branches got knocked off. A tree, sycamore tree here, and landed among the hives. But apart from that, everything is pretty good. I've been to the other sites and I've checked them, and one of the sites I haven't been to check, but it's been reported to me that everything is fine there. Yeah, so currently we're without power, and we've no internet and no phone signal here either actually. The phone signal came back slightly yesterday evening. The storm was yesterday, and kind of finished up here. The wind kind of eased off around maybe midday. By 2 o'clock it was completely calm. We had a very cold night last night. Frost was, some snow kind of fell yesterday, light snow fell yesterday evening around 4 or 5 o'clock, and then it froze very hard last night. But I do notice one or two of the colonies there's a bit of flight coming in and out, so it's mild enough now. It's not like freezing, but I reckon tonight is going to be another cold night. Yeah, so as I was saying, currently we're without power, and we're lucky we have a generator here. Actually, at the time when we were building the house, I got a changeover switch installed so that I could plug a generator directly into the house without the risk of a feed going back into the grid. So that's, I'll tell you, it proved its worth this year. We've had to use it one or two occasions in the past, but usually it was only for a couple of hours. Storm Dara, we were a week without power, and this time, given the scale of the damage that was done by Storm Éowyn, something in the region of 500,000 or more, I think it was 750,000 homes and businesses out of power. So that'll just show you the scale of it across the country. So the likelihood is that we will be without power for a few days anyway. So yeah, I think I've more than proved the worth of the investment of getting the changeover switch installed at the time when I was building the house, and the purchase of the generator. So all my colonies survived, as in survived the storm intact. I've had no boxes knocked over, no trees fell down on top of them, thankfully. One of the sites, well, two of the sites that I have are surrounded by trees. Now one, the trees aren't that big in it, but still though, there is potential there for damage. Because actually in Storm Dara, I saw, more unusually, I saw a lot of hawthorn come down as well. So, you know, a hawthorn hedge is even posing a risk now at this stage. You know, back last year and that, the storms were generally knocking over ash that was suffering from ash dieback. This year I'm noticing a considerable amount of beech trees going over, and we have one big beech tree here in the back, and it is a little concern that I have, but so far anyway, the storms, she hasn't lost any branches. We got it dressed, well, it must be 4 years ago now, so I suppose that's helping it. But yeah, so thankfully, I don't know how anybody else has fared out really, because obviously without the internet and all of that, I can't really follow up on how anybody else has fared out during the storm in terms of their bees. But might take a little trip into town later, and we'll just get the lowdown on get the feedback, I suppose, as it were. So I'm just going to do a little bit of cleaning up here. Obviously there's a few branches. There's nothing, only chainsaws going on in the background, and trees down everywhere. It's the worst. I went over to, as I was travelling over to one of the sites yesterday afternoon, after the kind of the wind had abated, I had to detour a good bit to get there, because there was trees down all across the roads that I was taking. But just even across the countryside itself, you'd see trees down everywhere and power lines down. So phenomenal. But hopefully one of those kind of once in a lifetime experiences that we'll have here. I have been in other parts of the world where I've been hit by similar winds, but you know, it's kind of to be expected in other parts of the world. It's not usual for here. So, but lately we've been getting hit by these kind of more intense kind of storms. So I think we need to kind of make preparations for those well in advance, and expect that it's going to be the norm as opposed to the abnormal, and take measures to kind of have things in place for them. Anyway folks, I'm going to leave it there. I'm just going to do a bit of tidying up here, and then I'm going to tip over to one of the other sites that I have that's in woodland. And whilst nothing fell in around the vicinity of the hives themselves, some trees in the wood actually came over. So I might just go over there and do a bit of tidying up around that area. So yeah, so if you like the videos, just hit that like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.